even when they rob you, they say, thank you, please. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're understanding what you're getting into. So the sister here, you're very smart by already thinking about it some time ago. I have a lot of elders over there who've been planning when they retire, they're going. One lady came, never been to Africa, no part of Africa before, but she knew she was going. She has a 20-year radio program online that talks about Africa, but never been there. When she got there, she sat. She has the money, she has the time, and she has the patience, and she's straight from the hood. I always tell people, you're still going to the hood. It's still the hood. The situation with one of the sisters who came from Compton, where I'm from, she actually got caught up with a guy online, and nice guy, whatever, but he didn't understand her, who she was, and what she was about, and what she was trying to do. And she ended up losing a lot of money. He bought her car for the car broke down. Got into a house, rented a house, and then the house was supposed to be with another agent. He comes knocking on her door, saying that you owe me money. She's answering the gate with a 1-year-old baby on her hip, and these two men are at the door. I was like, you lost your Compton. Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? It's like what are you doing? You still in the world. This is still bad people everywhere. So, but just being able to think and understand what to do. One thing about me, I was say it was I won't say it was a totally easy transition, but it wasn't as hard as it has been for a lot of people because, like I said, I did listen. I came there with the attitude of that I'm not coming to save Africa. I wasn't coming with no missionary. I went to Africa to save myself. So when it comes down to making the adjustments, as far as the culture and things like that, everybody asks me, did I have cultural shock? I was just shocked to see that the culture was going, that it was leaving. That I dress African all the time, and people are wearing European clothes on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? But I had to come to understand why. This costs money. African clothes are not cheap. So when it comes down to people who don't have money, they're wearing a lot of home use clothes. So when you come there, you want to make sure that you have some kind of plan. Know how you're gonna make your money. That's the first thing. If you have residual income over here, maybe a contract. I met a brother outside. All of the work that he does is online. Somebody like that is perfect because you can go anywhere in the world and make your money. You want to think about where you want to live, whether you want to live like you do here, like in the city, or if you want to live in the countryside, if you want to get into agriculture. You want to look at all those different things, but the best thing to do is to come to Africa first. Make that first visit. Not very many people who just up and left did okay. Some of us right here in Atlanta have been over there for 15, 20 years and just let everything expire, visas expire, passport expire, they're living under the radar. And because Ghana, they know Black Americans don't really have too many problems. We don't cause too many problems over there. So they're not coming after us and asking us for passports or trying to, give us problems to get out. So that's why a lot of us there are living under the radar. If you want to do that, that's fine, but I don't advise that if you're really trying to, grow in whether it's spiritually or in business or, you're trying to do something better than what you're doing here. So, just make sure that you know how you're going to make your money. You can come there and look at all the different sectors. Right now, I'm pushing people to go into agriculture because it's what I regret not doing. And I'm getting into the cashew business first. And the reason why it was more of a political move for me, because cashews is 90% is grown in Africa. Most cashews are grown in Africa. A lot of people don't know that. But most of the processing is done outside of Africa. So 90% of the processing is done outside of Africa, which is Vietnam, China, and India. So my goal is to do the farming and also going all the way from the farm to the table, doing the whole processing and everything, and finding Black investors that will come together to do processing. And not just for cashews, we don't do a lot of processing there, we do a lot of refineries. You know, so you want to think about considering agriculture, because the people who did get into agriculture before, I mean, when I first got there, they're making big money now. I met some brothers from Barbados that have about 300 acres of a mango farm. They come 3 months out of the year. They export their mangoes and do whatever. One of them stays for 6 months, and they go home and they don't have to work the rest of the year. You see, I've met some northerners from there that have like 3,000 acres of cashew farms, you know, and it's a conglomerate, you know, they're coming together. And that's what works. The more you have people to come together to do any type of project, no matter how big it is or how small it is, the better you'll be able to pull things off. I do a African Culture and Wellness Festival there, which I'll do like a little recap of what we do. But pretty much it's, we do tours, we do a festival, and we do a concert. I bring Muta Baruka from Jamaica as one of our ambassadors. And next year, from January 30th to February 11th, we're going to have the festival. And it'll be Muta Baruka's third year coming. He's one of our ambassadors. It is a wellness festival in where it's kind of like this, where we have a lot of vegan food, and it is a vegan event. So when it comes down to the food part, and we have meat options instead of the other way around like it usually is. We'll have real good vegan food, and then y'all can have a little fish if you want, a little chicken if you want. It's there. Because we want to make sure that everybody's able to come and enjoy, you know, and be comfortable in their own skin, you know. So I have flyers in reference to that, and I'll get that out. And also, while I'm here, I'll be posting on the page for the African Culture and Wellness Festival as to where I'll be speaking in reference to repatriation. So whether you want to come and live there, or you want to come on a nice vacation, or you want to do business there, I advise that everybody who is African have their hook in Africa. This is what Marcus Garvey was always talking about, Africa for the Africans. And if you go over there right now, you're going to see a whole lot of Chinese people coming in. More white people are coming there, and coming from America. Usually you see white people from different parts of Europe, but they're coming from America. And when I ask them why, what do you think they tell me?
Missionary.
Because of Trump.
They leaving.
Even they run. I said, well, can you go tell my cousins, because they ain't getting it, you know. So, and they see, and everybody knows that's into understanding what the world is about, politics and economics. They know Africa is the last frontier. 70% of the resources in the world come from out of Africa.
That's right.
If they close all the borders around Africa, the rest of the world would just drop overnight, 24 hours, not even 24 hours. You see? So really, when they, I was talking to a brother out here, when they say Africa is always looking for this aid, the WF, the World Bank, and things like that, all they have to do is raise the amount of money that they take from people when they come into mine. In Ghana, if you come in to do gold, mining gold, they only take 2%. Any of the resources, anywhere from 2 to 8%, that goes back to Ghana. I think Zimbabwe was the only one that I've heard of that when Mugabe was there, that took actually 51%, like a corporation would do here, right? So it keeps us going after their funny color money, and we have the resource. Our money here, the money here is not backed by anything. You see, over there, if you were to stop people from taking in all kinds of different minerals, that's taking care of a lot of technology here. Like I said, everything would just fall if we were to close the
We can't watch the whole rockers, maybe.
It's really, we're feeding the beast, and we need to starve the beast.
Then stop it. Okay.
And
How long is
we
rockers?
need
2
to
hours.
do as African people, whether you go there or not, we need to have that connection with our brothers and sisters on the continent. They purposely make sure that we don't have conversations with each other. And I know this brother can contest to that.
Well, he speaks French.
Okay. Whoa. A little bit, okay, yeah. But you see, when you're over in Africa, when you're looking at America, you're looking at the pimps, the hustlers, you know, the ghetto mama, the negative things of blacks in America. So when they see us, even when they come here, they call us something called a kata. The only reason why I know this is because I have a close friend who told me, who's open enough to tell me about what they think about us, and I talked about what we thought about them. And that's a conversation I thought was very important. And even we got into lots of fights, over it, because these stereotypes, and I didn't want to, you can't put me in no box. You can't put me in put a label on me. So what happens is they see us that way as gangsters and pimps and things like that, and we see them as starving, hungry, in war, disease. And when you go over there, you'd be so surprised. When Black Panther came out this weekend, they had a premiere on Thursday. Everybody's dressing up and doing the whole Black Panther thing. The same thing just happened in Ghana and out in Accra. Some of my friends were posting, they're going to the premiere. And it was packed. Packed. And this whole weekend is going to still be packed. And they were even raising funds between 200 students to be able to go because they can't afford to, buy a ticket to go to the movies. It's just $5, but $5 is a lot. Even sometimes $5 is a lot for our kids, to be holding, So, it goes, I think this movie, I see different things, with it. I have my opinions about what the movie is about, but I see it as something that's going to help us look at each other as Africans on the continent and Africans in the diaspora. And not just that, there's different things that's happening. And I know the ancestors are making it happen. No matter what happens in our history, our ancestors, some kind of way, show up and they handle the business. So that's why I'm not worried about anything. I know I'm 47, and I know in my lifetime, I'm going to see our African liberation. I can feel it, I can smell it, I can taste it. It's in my bones. It's here.
Come on. Yes.
Yeah, so like I said, Africa is not for everybody. It's because some of us will see how American you are when you go over there. I don't care how clothes and everything. When you get over there, you're gonna see how American you are.
Yeah.
And they're gonna tell you how American you are. Matter of fact, they're gonna call you white woman, white man.
Wow.
They're gonna either use the word Obruni, which means like foreigner, but it's also a derogatory word that they use towards white people. Any word that's used towards white people in Ghana, any Ghana language, is gonna be something negative, like the Airways English translation is tricky dog. So it'll be things like that, you know what I'm saying? So when you're out and say you're going to be at the marketplace and you want to buy something, and then I'm talking to her and then she's asking her, oh, the white lady, she wants to know how much the thing is. And I'm, the white lady, white people around here. And then the next thing you know, oh, madam, I saw you talking to me. Oh yeah, the white lady. I said, I'm not white. Oh, you're a white lady. I said, I've never been mistaken as a white lady. And so I really, but see, the thing is, I speak like them. Yeah. I walk like them. I'm eating their same food. I mean, I dress African, but they don't even dress African. So like, what are you doing really? So it's like you can be black as this. And as soon as you open your mouth and you start speaking that, they're calling you a white woman. And it doesn't mean your skin, it's the culture that you come from. So those type of things you have to understand. So when you get over there, you don't be like, what you calling me? Like I did. And then somebody put me back, Sherita, come on, back up. Let me school you, tell you what's going on. And then from then on, it was more of a thing of, okay, let me
educate,
you, and let you know. Well, actually, I look at it as an opportunity to be able to talk to them about who I am and who we are coming from America. The story has not been told. They don't know even a lot of their own history, and they have a British curriculum. You know what I'm saying? You see how our books are outdated. Education system has been outdated for a long time. But over there, that's the system. So when it comes down to the history, if you talk about slavery, I have a 16-year-old guy who comes and cuts my yard about once a week. And he said, "Oh, I want to go to America. I want to get a." I said, "What do you want to do?" "I want to get a job." I said, "You're only 16." He said, "Yeah, I just want to go for the summer and come back." I said, "Oh, you really don't get it. It's not that easy. You know, you don't just buy a plane ticket and come. You got to send the visa line, pay $400, and maybe you might get in. And somebody like you, they're not going to let you in. There's no reason for you to go." And I said, "Plus, if you get over there, they're just going to shoot you down like a dog anyway." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "Because they don't like black people. They don't like black. Well, why do they don't like black people?" I said, "Okay, how do I start?" I said, so I started talking about slavery. He thought I was telling a story. He told me I was lying. He said, "How can that be possible? That people would do somebody?" We were only talking about 20 minutes. I hadn't even told him nothing. And he thought that it was like some kind of story. And really, when you think about it, if you really remove yourself out of it, and you hear the story about the Ma'afa, the European Arab slave trade, right? It does sound like a crazy story, some kind of movie, right? But because we're in it and we're the survivors of it, you know what I'm saying? We understand. We understand it, but it does sound like something that's so far fetched. I remember this one brother I was dating a long time ago. I wanted to bring him to the Castle Dungeons. A lot of people have never been, so I took him to this place called One Africa. If you've been to Ghana, One Africa is the spot to go to. I always take people there on my tour. Sister Amicus from Brooklyn. She's been there for about 30 years. So anyway, she has this museum, and she's a curator. And the museum is really her house, and has all these pictures on the wall and about our African heroes, whether they're from the States or from the Caribbean, from Africa. And so he saw that famous picture of a man whose back is to the camera and his back is whipped up, right?
Yeah.
And when he saw that and he read the article, he was like, "They did this for mirrors and snaps and alcohol? This is what they was trained to do. This is what they did to y'all." He couldn't get it. He couldn't understand it. And he was so angry. I barely was able to take him to the Castle Dungeons, but I took him. And immediately he was seeing white people walking around, and you know what he wanted to do? He said, "I just want to snatch them. I'm going to put them inside the Castle Dungeon, and I'm going to close it. I'm going to videotape." This is what he's telling me. "I'm going to videotape and say who you are. Don't tell me. Don't say where you from. What? Just say who you are, and don't yell out anybody's family name or whatever. I don't want anybody to know where you are. Just say who you are. So I'm going to send it to your family and let them know what we're going to do to you." And I was like, wow, this is just like in a day, of moving around and learning about who we are. So then he looked at me differently and also other black Americans differently, to where when he sees us now, it's like, "Hey, yeah, my friend, my sister, like now you're home." And so in the movement, when it comes down to the Pan-African movement there, Africans from the continent that are in the movement, they're the ones that know the story. They know their history. And they're the ones that welcome us more. But I would say in Ghana, the Northerners are the ones that really take us in more, because they're, if you're from Ghana, you would have been from the North. Because that's where they got, that was the strongest Africans as far as Ghana. And they went and got those slaves or Africans and enslaved them. Also, I met a man who had a great-grandmother who was 160 years old, 160, who remember, and the way they knew her age was she remembered when she was around 10, seeing us being snatched and taken away. You see? So it's like, also being over there, you also get a chance to fill in a lot of the blanks that a lot of our historians might not fill in. Our historians, they give very good information. I love Clark like he's my grandfather. I love all these people who've been able to come and tell us who we are as African people. But it leaves us in the space to, that's what Africa is now. And when you're walking into Africa, you're not walking into a history book. You're walking into today's Africa. And so you have to understand that as an oppressed people, just like here, what you've seen is a result of that. So again, I was saying, for us to come together from Africa and from the diaspora, whether it's America, the South America, the Caribbean, and the UK, and start to have that dialogue. We have technology now, and it's nothing for you to just start, making dialogue through people like me or somebody that you might know. Connect you with some Ghanaians or Nigerians or South Africans or whatever, and so that way you can start having some conversations. And right now, I'm sitting on platforms in Ghana where we have diasporans and blacks that are just the black people from America and just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Erasing all the stereotypes, getting out all the anger. It was your people that enslaved me. I told somebody that. It was your people that enslaved us. You sold us out. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've had those conversations and very angry. And then they want to come back. And give give their side of it. Well, it wasn't all of us, and and all this. Okay, but you come to see that when you start to stir things up, then you can start seeing what's in the pot. You see, and in that way we can understand how to deal with our problem because we're able to identify the food that's in the pot. I don't have a lot of time. I see Ross keep jumping in. So I'm on Facebook as Dr. Sherita, public page, personal page. I also have the African Culture and Wellness Festival, ACOF, there's a page for that. And while I'm here, I'm just going to kind of post some different things that I'm doing. Tomorrow I'll be at the library here. The Southwest Library on 3665 Cascade Road. And that's going to be from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And pretty much it's a gathering of people who are interested in coming to Africa and people who already live in Africa or are living bi-coastal or people who are doing business in Africa. And we're opening it up for people who just want to have questions. Even if you never want to go, but just want to just hear what Africa is about. We're inviting everybody to come out to the library tomorrow from 2 to 5. And I'll be posting this as well. So I'll give out some of the flyers so everybody can see where to get the website and also get the Facebook page. And then we'll go from there. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time. I have lots of stories. I've been living there for 11 years, 12 years in August. And this is what it's good for, and this is what you should eat. And stop eating this Western people's food because this is why you're dropping dead, and nobody knows what's happening. Know what's happening. So, because of the TV thing, I've been able to also get into certain doors that other people can. I feel like now I can go knock on a new president's office and be like, okay, I need an appointment. I feel confident. I wouldn't dare. Well, I wouldn't bother with this president, but I wouldn't even thought to do that with Obama. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel limited over there. You know what I'm saying? Moving there as a woman, it is a difference when you're dealing with business, but I learned. I listened and said, okay, and I watched. What's the best way to approach, sitting down with a whole bunch of men and talking about a project. And then being the woman, the one that needs to be a little more quiet, and how they're going to deal with the big mouth woman from Compton. So I've been able to balance, all of that and been able to be well receiving. And women are very objective over there. They have to sleep their way up, in a lot of positions, starting from school, from junior high school, even to get a grade, to get a job. Even in the interview, they're already trying to come on to you. So when you understand that you're more than your hips and your thighs, and you use this, my mother didn't raise no fool. Okay, so I've been able to sit at the table, immediately show them what I can do, and then all that other stuff goes out the window. Because at the end of the day, they want to get the project done, and they want that money, or they want something happening, or they want something to move. So there's a lot of different experiences that I have to share. In reference, I get lots and lots of questions. But at the end of the day, I want people to come with a plan, and I'll do phone conferences, and we also have some other people here on the grounds too, right here in Atlanta, that talks about repatriation as well. And you'll meet some of them tomorrow if you come. Thank you so much for your time. Any questions? I'm still here.
Thank you.
I have a table here, right, with New Body Products. So if you have any questions, you can always come and pick my brain. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, y'all give it up again for Dr. Sherita. That was so very insightful, right? I learned a lot from that. I mean, that's a lot of great experience. So we're going to keep it moving. We're definitely going to come with another film. Make sure you're supporting your vendors, checking them out in the next room and in here throughout the time that you're here. And before we get into the next film, we have another very brief presentation, which is like, yes, another beautiful soul. Baba Wekesa Madzimoyo. Y'all give it up. Baba Wekesa is a co-founder of a very successful African-centered school. How long you had that school? 20 years. 20 years. So definitely we have children. This is one of those people in the community doing great work with the youth for that long. With his wife, Mama Fia, one beautiful family doing beautiful work. And as well, they do a lot of work in the community with the Black Love dinners and really doing work with making sure that we're understanding the importance of Black families, being together, staying together, and what that means and what that takes nowadays, right? All right, and so right now he's going to talk about injected racial scripts. You want to talk about the Black man movie?
If you want me to squeeze it in.
I
Yeah.
like how he talks about it.
All right. First, would you take one of these and pass it on out so you can have how you can contact me. I know you've been sitting for a while, and I know I got a film coming after me, so I am not going to take a long time, because I know I can't compete with that. At the same time, I think it's fitting because the film is storytelling. And the piece that I'm talking about here is countering injected racial scripts. And these particular ones that I'm talking about are scripts that infect how we tell stories, how we receive stories, and then how we tell our own stories. It's not about other people's stories. This is about how they've influenced the stories that we hear. So when we get behind the camera, we get to tell stories. Or when we come out of our mouths, we get to tell stories. But the way we tell those stories has been infected by racial scripts. There are 4 of them, okay? So we're going to handle 4 of them. The first one is called MSO, Morality in Service of Oppression. And this one is a racial script designed to keep us oppressed and designed to have it where we portray that the good character is the one that doesn't challenge oppression or doesn't challenge it as forthrightly. Okay, there was a poet that recently in another venue, I would show you the clip, and she stood up and she says, "You think that you're hearing hate out of my voice. It's not hate, it's frustration." I'm like, whoa, hold up. That is, her ancestors have, and she was speaking about her ancestors have a right to be angry at what went on. She doesn't need to start off apologizing for the anger. Okay, one, she don't need to call it hate. The other is, she literally, that part of her presentation was influenced as she was apologizing for her ancestors' righteous anger at being oppressed. That's morality in service of oppression. The reason King was a minister, Martin Luther King, Malcolm was a minister. Which one is considered more moral?
King.
King is considered more moral.
Yeah,
I don't mean which one you believe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which one is considered portrayed as more moral?
King.
Right. So the person who doesn't challenge oppression as forthrightly, all right, that person is elevated in our stories, in the stories that are told to us that we receive, and often in how we portray the stories. It's important that we don't do that. Another way morality in service of oppression works, and I do this when I tell the Harriet Tubman or the Araminta story. How many of you heard of the idea that Araminta carried a gun?
True.
Who was the gun for?
Runaway slaves.
The runaway slaves. We've heard that. It's not true. That's morality in service of oppression. What do you mean? That is, it's actually much more likely that Harriet Tubman had the gun. Not likely. I know why she had the gun. She had the gun because she said, I got a right to 2 things, liberty or death. And anybody get in my way, I'm going to take them out. think of every time I can go to all over the country, ask who the gun's for, and black people say it was for us.
Yeah.
We don't say it was for white people who would stop her. And she may have had to use that occasionally to remind somebody. No, she was gangster, we say. All right? Because guess what? It is safer for us to see her pointing the gun at us and not at the oppressor.
Yep.
All right? Literally, in that script, MSO is influencing how we tell the story about our heroine.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere written where she she said anybody who would threaten her, she would take her out. Think about it, y'all. She had to go 500 miles. Okay? Secret. On foot. You think you can hold a gun to somebody's head for 500 miles and keep them secret? You think you can do that? No. Forget that. All right? Fact of the matter is, and that's a whole nother story. I tell the Araminta story, but many of us are tied to that, and we think we're tied to it because it's a way to get us right. When in fact, literally, when I ask people to envision her pointing the gun at white people and taking them out, just kind of imagine that. Some people they have problems. They have problems seeing her blowing white folks off the planet. But they have no problem seeing her grabbing the gun up and saying, listen. Say, whoa. So if that's you, then you know you've been infected by the morality, MSO script, the morality in service of oppression. We got to watch that one because it comes out in many different ways in terms of how we receive stories and how we tell stories. All right, that's MSO. Y'all ready for the next one? Because I told you I got to move it, I got to fast. I don't want you to get bored on me and all that. You've been listening. All right, you ready for the next one? The next one is UBO. UBO stands for the Universal Black Orphan. I learned this from Daoud Anyabwile. Y'all know Daoud?
Yeah.
Okay. Daoud, the originator, him and his family, of the Brother Man comic series. Okay. You know, when he said they were writing the series, he and his brother, Guy Sims, he said to me, Bob Wekesa, we did not want to make him the Universal Black Orphan. UBO, Universal Black Orphan. I said, well, Daoud, what in the world is a Universal Black Orphan? He said, you know, when you have one of those characters, you know, and the character is a star, a black character, but she don't have no family. She has no culture. She has no community. She's the star or a star. And I said, oh, well, what happens when you lose family and culture and community? You lose direction, mission, and purpose. So that character is there to serve the direction, mission, and purpose of the other characters. All right? Can y'all think of a movie where you had a black character and that character wasn't developed so that they had mamas and daddies and sisters and culture and all of that? All right? They're there to serve the other characters and their mission. Now, this thing is UBO, so the key is, all right, if I find it out there, then has it influenced how we tell our stories? And so I asked the question. Let's stick with Harriet for a minute. Who was Harriet's mom? You don't know. Okay. Who was her daddy? Now let me tell you. What about Rosa Parks? Who was her mom? Did she have a daddy? Must have, right? But you don't know anything about him, right? Now let me tell you how powerful this script is. If I decided that I wanted to spend some time with a girl when I was growing up, and I announced to folks in the house that I want to spend some time with this sister like that one over there, loved my life for 30 years. Okay, but if I'm like, okay, I want to spend some time, somebody in that house is going to ask one question. What's that question?
Who's her
Wait, say it again.
Who are her parents?
Who her people? Somebody's going to say who her people. That is literally, I don't care where I go, from California to Florida to New York, everybody knows the answer to that question. Who her people? Because for us, if you're going to know somebody, if you're going to spend time with somebody, if you're going to love somebody, if you're going to take them in your life, we got to know who are people. How come we don't ask that question? How come this racist script has infected us so much that it's overridden our grandmama's injection to say if you're going to be close to somebody, you ask the question, who her people? So if you ask the question, who her people, then you would know about her grandmama Misty, okay, who came over on the captive ship, who told her about taking over and killing the captives on the captive ship. That's a dream she had, a recurring dream all her life. If you ask who's Rosa Parks' people, you find out her daddy was a what? Garveyite. So you weren't surprised when somebody asked her, who's your favorite leader? She didn't say King, she said Malcolm. Because Malcolm's daddy was a what? Garveyite. But you got to ask who her people. We don't do research. Folk give us this person, this star, this hero. We don't even ask. The research that we do, the papers that we do, the stories we tell, we leave out family, we leave our culture, we leave our community because we aren't doing what our grandmama said. We're doing what the script told us to do, and that is make the person a universal black orphan. That's a racist script that has infected how we tell our stories. We got to change that. Okay? I ask people, so tell me the story of Malcolm's mama. You know the story of Malcolm's mama? Somebody call you, of course you got to. Yeah, I read our biography. I read a little section that, she had a nervous breakdown. Anything else? Because it ain't hard for white folks to tell you a black parent when they can't feed their family because they're not being hired, but then they got a nervous breakdown. Right? Real easy. DFACS will make you have a nervous breakdown in a minute. Take your children in a heartbeat. Okay?
She's a product of rape, isn't it?
She's a product of rape?
She was raped.
Well, I didn't know that, but she may be.
Yeah.
What else you know about her? I know you asked because you love Malcolm.
From the Caribbean, Barbados.
She was from the Caribbean, Barbados. Did you know she was a Garveyite before her husband? Does it change the story that she and her husband were Garveyites? They made a decision to raise their family like that. Yes, he got killed living out the family mission. Does that make a difference? As opposed to she was this nice, mild-mannered kind of wife, and there was this radical father who got the children in trouble and the family in trouble. Does it change the story at all? You doggone right it does. Okay, but you got to ask the question, who her people? Y'all like Ida B. Wells? I'm sticking, huh? You like Ida B. Wells?
Yeah.
What's her husband's name?
Don't know.
Ain't even asked the question. My Lord. She's a hero. I love the black woman. I love do what your grandmama asked you. Who her people? That's how you counter this this script, this UBO script. If you did, you'd know Ferdinand Barnett. She was a powerful woman, and white women loved her, wanted to be a part of the feminist movement and say, you can't get married. She said, are you crazy? Well, if you get married, you're going to stop going on the road and speaking, blah, blah, blah. She said, no, that's your stuff. I'm getting married to Ferdinand Barnett. She did, and Ferdinand said, oh, no problem, sister. I married you because you all that in a bag of chips. So we're going to hire somebody to go with you to take care of the children while you keep on speaking. Thank you very much. If you ask who her people, y'all, we got to do that. If we're going to tell the stories. Or else we're just telling stories guided by how white folks have told the story. So it ain't even present. It's coming out of our mouths when we don't ask the questions because those scripts control how we tell our stories. All right, we got UBO, right? We got the first one was what? MSO? All right, that's stood for what? Morality in service of oppression. Okay, that is the way the more we serve oppression, the more moral we are. And then UBO, the Universal Black Orphan. We got a star, we got a hero. You don't know her community. Connection to her community, her culture, and her people. All right, number 3. I'm going to turn it around because number 3, I'm going to leave it to last because we'll bring in a little Black Panther on the last one. So let's talk about number 4. Number 4 is STD. And I don't mean the venereal disease. Okay, although it is venereal and although it is a disease, it's not transmitted sexually. It's transmitted through our mouths. STD stands for shame the devil. Okay? When I ask people to tell me about Black Wall Street and to describe it, they describe it as a massacre. How many of you heard that? Massacre, right? I told my students, don't ever say that again. Ever. They said, what up, Bob? Because I look on the internet, it said it was a massacre. I said, every story is not for every ear. Well, what are we going to call it then? I said, you call it an invasion and a battle. What you mean, an invasion and a battle? But they massacred us. No, they didn't. It was an invasion and a battle. Now, what has this got to do with shame the devil? Most times when we are infected by the shame the devil script, we are so invested in portraying white people as powerful and evil that we also get hooked in portraying us as powerless and good. Now, let me tell you, them being powerful and evil and us being powerless and good won't win. Our children ain't following that. Okay, we're giving away our power in order to shame them. Do they need to be shamed? Yeah. Are they evil? Yeah. I'm not trying to defend no white folks. But the problem is, the equation is simply this. They are powerful and evil coming out of our mouth, and we are powerless and good. That's what massacre means. If you say it's an invasion and a battle, my students said, what battle? I said, oh, so you didn't know about Dick Rowland. You didn't know about brother who's over there, upstanding member of the black community. He's shining shoes outside of this building like he normally does. He's shining shoes and he needs to go to the bathroom. He goes into the building he normally goes up to go to the bathroom. Right? It was an old-fashioned elevator. An elevator operator opens it. A white woman, young white woman, elevator operator. He trips going in, falls onto her. All of a sudden, now he's accosted her. Okay? He's arrested. White folks is fanning the flames. He's accosted her, whatever. Black folks say, we get the message that Dick Rowland from our community is in jail, and they're fanning the flames, talking about going and lynching him. So brothers show up, 5, with guns from World War I. Say, you know what? Okay, say, you know what, y'all? Y'all got to, y'all can't do this. Sheriff, you need a little help. And then Sheriff says, no, I got this. I'm ordering y'all to go home. They go home, come back, 12 brothers with guns. Said, no, you need some help. They are not going to come in and lynch Dick Rowland today. He says they're upstairs on the 4th floor. I got to send them home. Y'all got to go home. I'm ordering you to go home. They go, come back with 25 brothers armed. Said that ain't going to happen. You're not going to lynch this brother. Then one of the white people who gathered, because they were continuing to gather, decided he was going to disarm the brother. Well, I ain't got to tell you what happened, right? See, the way they said is shots were fired. The way I said is the brother shot him, and it was on. And they fought and they battled for over an hour, corner to corner down the street. And then they went behind the tracks in Greenwood Arch and Pine and started firing. The teenagers reloaded the guns while the brothers were shooting up, one up in the church shooting. Come on, don't you know about this battle? Right? You know about Tulsa. You don't know about the battle. You don't know about our power. So what? We lost that battle that day. Did we fight? Yes. Oh, no. They were powerful and evil, and we were powerless and good. You keep that. That's shame the devil. All right? And guess what, y'all? They just pulled my chain. I got to go, so there's one more. So I can't share with you that last one. What? I'm sorry. What can I do? I ain't in charge of the program. Okay. So here's the deal. Okay? Well, I just gave you STD.
Do that. Okay. You just gotta be brief with the last one because we want to go to the movie and we have performances.
I understand. I want to stop. You know that.
But you know, he have a. Don't you have something coming up?
Yeah. Hold on. Listen. Here's where you can hear it. Tomorrow at 7:00. If you go to the web, if you're on Facebook and you got my card, put Wekesa Madzimoyo. Wekesa, all right, and MAD. If you just get MAD, it'll take you to the rest, okay? And then at my banner has 7:00 tomorrow. We're having a program called How to Enjoy How to Enjoy Black Panther and Not Fall Into the Superhero Trap. And SHT stands for the Superhero Trap. We're all about it, okay? And if you just absolutely can't make it, we're going to have it next Sunday as well. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate y'all.
All right. Robert Wekesa, there's nothing like Robert Wekesa, right? So make sure you check out his free presentation webinar, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tomorrow at 7. That's going to be good. I actually was looking forward to checking out myself. And we can get the last racial injection script.
Racial injected, countering racial injected script. So it is a script. It's a racist script injected in our psyche.
Right. So you said there was 4, so we'll get the last one tomorrow. We tune in at 7, right?
Yeah. Okay. And you can talk. It's a live webinar.
Okay, sounds good.
Anybody got any of those cards left?
Yeah, they're over here.
All right, so now we did mention that we were going to do rockers, but because of timing, we don't want to just do part of a film and have to end it. So we're going to do what's called Coconut Revolution. All right, and you can hear what that sounds like, right? All right, so let's check that out.
Need it.
Africa Unite Film Fest.
Members of the Bougainville Revolutionary Army train their boats with much-needed supplies of medicine and fuel, and prepare to set off from the sea.